Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love money, mind. Love money, mind. This is Freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Mark V. Smith. Mark is a curator of a bigger vision within. He specialises in speaking from his personal experience of trials and tribulations in life. His desire to chronicle choices and share the journey resonates at the core personally and professionally. You're going to love this interview and I can't wait to introduce you to Mark Smith.
So Mark, I'm really pleased that you're on the show. Thanks ever so much for sparing the time.
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm glad to be here. Glad to have an opportunity to kind of dialogue back and forth with you and your listeners today.
Yeah, brilliant. And I know we're on the opposite sides of the world. It's morning time for you. It's afternoon here in the UK. Actually, I think it's lunchtime, is it? 11:30 in the morning. Just trying to work that out in my numbers there. So it's great to have you. I love how my podcast has helped me connect to lots of different people globally. And I put this podcast together because my expertise is like e-commerce, Amazon, selling physical products really online. But I went through a really difficult time in 2015. And I really strongly believe that by sharing our stories can really have an impact on lots of other people, because I suppose it kind of like normalizes our adversities, whatever normal is, because I think these days with, the social platforms, this digital age, we kind of, when we're going through a bad time, we look at everybody else on these social platforms and believe that their lives are perfect, when actually we all know deep down it's not the case. And I have these 3 pillars that have helped me get equilibrium in my life. And it's freedom in love, which is around self-care and self-love. Freedom in money, because finances is important, because when that's a struggle, it kind of doesn't help us get that equilibrium. And then mindset as well, freedom in mind. And it's something like those are sort of like the 3 things that have helped me get equilibrium, like I say, in my life. And I'm sure you'll be able to relate to those. You're nodding, so that's all good. And I know you're kind of like the motivational speaker with your podcast, The Process, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that. And I'm sure there's some synergy with what we're both trying to do here. But how did you get, share your journey? How did you get to be doing what you're doing today?
Well, I tell everybody I didn't choose this career path. It chose me. And I go back and look at all the things that I've done in my life, from, playing athletics in high school and college. You become vocal. So you have to, I like to say, go in the phone booth and play Clark Kent. You got to come out when you come to the game or on the field. You have to be ready. So a lot of times you're actually vocal. To my work in post-secondary education years ago as a career development specialist, as an admissions representative, you get to talk to people and find out what their true motivation is, as well as, having an opportunity to lose my job, that really set the stage for reflection. A lot of times we don't go through the reflection phase of where we are to where we need to go. And that scenario that happened to me back then in 2018 gave me the wherewithal to say, Mark, you have a story, and your story is like everybody else's story. So now it's time to tell it. No guts, no glory. It's time to go.
Yeah. No, I can totally relate to that. And actually, a lot of people the last couple of years, I think, no matter who they are, have had quite a lot of uncertainty. And you might be able to share some sort of tips or strategies to help people get through, because there's been a lot of people I know that have lost their job or gone through a big change or impacts on the relationship, and it's those kind of wake-up calls, isn't it, that make you step back and reflect on what it is your heart desires, what you really want to do in this world. Because a lot of the time we're on this rat race, aren't we, when our life, we don't have these wake-up calls,
Every single day. I mean, no day is promised to us, that's for sure. But, it's what we make of that day. We have the power to make it a good day or a bad day. We have an opportunity to share light on somebody or to throw a match on somebody. That's totally within our control. So a lot of times, for I know can only speak for myself because
Yeah.
I'm the one that walked that walk. I know that it was a struggle. Sometimes the things
Mm.
going on in life, the trials and tribulations, they were a struggle. But like I tell everybody, you're going to get through. At some point you're going to get through. The outcome may not be what you wanted it to be, but guess what? You got through. And hopefully you learn something truly about yourself, and that you are magnificent within, and you're stronger than what you think all the way through.
And so, for people that may say, for someone right now that's listening to this episode, who is just facing the blunt of they have just lost their job, is there anything that you can look back? Look back to 2018. It was 2018, I think. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that initial sort of struggle of fight or flight. Is there anything you'd like to share with them that could help them?
I would just say what I did, and what I would tell anybody is just draw on your experiences. Go back and revisit everything that you learned prior to that time happening, and what got you to that point to where you were. But also, what I had to learn to do is accept where I was at. I truly had to accept that that was a point in my life where I had to decide to make a change. And see, I could have went back into the post-secondary education, or I could do something totally different. And I've always had the adage, dare to be different.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to go back to that life. I'm beautiful. I'm blessed to have a wonderful wife who's very, very supportive. I have, grandchildren who I love dearly. So I couldn't let them down. So I knew I had to really look in my mirror, which I ask everybody to do every day. Look in your mirror. That's where you're going to get your strength to where you need to go. There's absolutely no reason to feel sad about it. Embrace it, because
Mm.
people that know me hear me say all the time, comfort is a casualty of growth. And quite frankly, I got comfortable. And
Yeah.
now it's time for me to grow. And that situation right there allowed me to grow, have an opportunity to do some bigger and better things that, quite frankly, I never imagined that I could accomplish.
Yeah, I think you're so right, because when we move into that uncomfortable space, it does feel uncomfortable, and it's fear, uncertainty, all these different things that happen. But actually, it's the opportunity for growth, isn't it? Which
Mhm,
at the
mhm.
time when you're going through it, you don't always see, because it's just because the road is uncertain, but actually it's flipping it into the fact that it's an opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, it's something that I say to my students all the time when they're learning all about Amazon, and they're fearing everything they're going through, or they're making mistakes. And
Mhm.
it's an opportunity. They feel uncomfortable, and it's an opportunity for growth. So
Mhm.
yeah, spot on with that one. So tell us a bit about your podcast, the process. What
Well,
you,
it was funny because I had to I mentioned, take a good look in the mirror and think about, from the time I was a adolescent, which I write about, to the time to where, I'm years old. I write about the current things that go on in my life. And I took it upon myself and said, well, wait a minute, Mark, your story is just like everybody else's story. It really is. It may be, some people say potatoes, some people say potatoes. We all have trials and we all have situations. We never have problems. Problems are what we manifest, that we say that there's no resource or no answer for. And there are always answer for any solution or situation we go to. We just have to have the patience and the wherewithal to get through it.
yeah,
So I just started writing. I just started writing and journaling about things that I went through, conversations that I had, a lot, going back and thinking about how I let other people's impossibilities plant inside my own spirit, and how I had to overcome that. So it was about sharing a message over a long haul. And I'm actually in the sixth season of it right now. So I had to go back and just say, hey, let's dialogue about each one of them. But you got to start with a foundation, Mark. You got to get everybody to understand what this is about. And that's what I entitled the first series. It was called The Foundation. And when I looked at that first series, I said, what is it that we all have in common? What is it that we really need to do, or a baseline for everybody to really get an understanding of what you're talking about? So I said, let me come up with one. And I said, to do this, you need to be different. Dare to be different, Mark.
Yeah.
I decided to use acronyms versus complete speeches, because we've all gone someplace and heard individuals talk and we like their conversation. Yeah, it's great. But what happens when we walk out? We forget
Yeah.
75% of everything that they've talked about. So if I can give you an acronym and you can remember that acronym and it equate to something in your life, then that will make sense to everybody. And it's easier for you to share it with somebody else. So with the foundation, which was the first one I created, the very first message was air. And everybody, when I told them it was going to be called air, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, guy, whatever. We all have air, right? We all need air to breathe. I said, yeah, that's different. But however, let's do this. Let's change this up. Instead of AIR, let's spell it AIRR. And I can't, of course, I got crazy looks again. So I said, well, they said, well, what is it going to stand for? I said, the basic foundation of life: accountability, integrity, responsibility, and respect.
Yeah.
That's where it started. I started right there as a foundational tool to give everybody something to look forward to and to grow on in each one of those messages in that series and the other 5 seasons that we're on right now.
Yeah, I love that. There's 2 things that you said there. The first one was the journaling, because I think when you're going through any kind of change or even a challenging time, I found like just writing stuff down really helps, because it's like you're brain dumping a lot of your energy out there and a lot of your thoughts as well, and creativity can come from it as well. But you also just be able to get your frustrations down as well.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of that quite a few years ago, and I still write so much stuff down now. I let the millennials use the iPad, so I'm a real tradition. Even though I've been working online for so long and I talk about all this digital marketing, I just love my notepad, writing stuff down. And the second thing was, I love the acronyms, because you're so right. We might hear someone talk, oh, that was great, and then if someone said, oh, what do you remember? It's hard to remember, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Details, whereas acronyms are a great way to take that information away, to kind of take action as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your, is it each season that has an acronym?
Mm-hmm. So I have, usually there's usually 6 or 7 messages within each season. So, the first one again was the foundation. I want to come back to something that you said before, is that, journaling. When we journal, we become accountable to what we write. So now no longer can we say that somebody else planted that inside of us. We took this pen and we wrote down what that is. So we have to look at it every single day and say, I wrote that. So now I have to own up to what I wrote. And that's a lot of it. I mean, I have Post-its everywhere. I've got paper everywhere. And you're right. My wife is like, hon, we have smartphones now. You can't put that in a smartphone. Yeah, but it's still not the same. It's not allowing me to really resonate exactly what I want to say. So I have tons of paper. But I decided that each one of these seasons is important to have an acronym that's going to have some meaning. So when I used the other one, when I left the series of the foundation, I went into the perfect storm. And I wrote the perfect storm literally, and this is this is nobody but the man above who put this in my heart, in my spirit, because the perfect storm came 10 days before the U.S. basically shut down and went in state of emergency for COVID.
Right.
And I called it the perfect storm because I said this is a time. This is the time in history to where we all I always believe that we're all equal anyway. But this put everybody back on the same playing field. No longer could you make an excuse about you didn't have time for education, because guess what? All you had was time. Yeah. You couldn't make time to say that you didn't build on relationships with your family and your friends, because again, they're a phone call away. They're at home just like you're at home. So, that was a perfect time. But there was one specific that I put in there that I always go back to, is the one I talked about with growth. And that one was so instrumental to me, because I go back and look at the times that before I took on this endeavor, where I actually did facilitate and have, and gave lectures to individuals in Washington, D.C., and didn't think about what I was saying. But then I also thought about where I was truly going. And when I wrote growth, I said, well, most people, again, Mark, you're going to say growth and they're going to think about, You're going to go up, you're going down, you're going to go wide. Growth, that's what they're thinking about. But I said, no, growth is a little different, because growth to me, and I wrote, says gradual reminder, obstacles will test hope.
Ooh, I love that.
Gradual reminder, obstacles will test hope. So everything that we go through is going to be a test. When we think we're having bad days, when we think something's going wrong in our life, guess what? This is an obstacle for an opportunity. And a lot of people fail to really embrace that and really recognize that, wait a minute, I'm getting a wake-up call. I'm getting a revelation, or something's happening in my life that's going to move me to another level. I just got to embrace it. So that one was something that really was really dear to me. A lot of people really enjoyed that particular message or that particular series, because again, it is about building a track record, building a foundation of things where people can revisit and again, move. And as I say, grow forward, not go forward, grow forward.
Yeah, exactly. I love the acronyms, so powerful.
Thank you.
Because you're so right, the growth thing, it's like it's you're either fear or love, aren't you? And I think when there is an obstacle, your initial response is to focus on the fear, and sometimes it's difficult for people to look at the opportunity, or the, like you say, the growth and the opportunity, and focus on the love of it, that it's happening for a reason, to help us change direction or challenge ourselves a little bit to get over it. Because life isn't perfect, isn't a clear storm, isn't it? And you said about the storm, actually, I thought I remember here in the UK, that first lockdown, we've had other restrictions since, but that first one was really pivotal, because it didn't matter whether you were a celebrity or you had loads of money or you were an everyday working class guy or whatever. Everybody was on the same playing field. Everything got shut down because nobody knew what was really going to happen. And I remember here, there was like, nature was growing, we could hear the birds singing more, and because there wasn't so much traffic out on the roads. And it was a real chance for people to just stop and reflect and focus on their family and friends and people that mattered, or what mattered in their lives. And we've had other lockdowns since, but nothing's really, I think we then got we'd been through that process. And plus there was also then people became experts about how they were going to use a lockdown to their advantage, to get out. The first one, everyone was stunned by a lockdown and had to lock down. It was a real chance to really reflect, I think, and actually be really grateful for what you did have. And I just remember, I can't even remember which celebrity it was, and they made a point about that, saying that we're all on the same playing field, really, because everyone was confused about what to do, or what was going to happen. And it was like all our humans became equal for that moment in time, and it was all impacting in the uncertainty, like what is going to happen next. So, and it was, in a way, now it's like we look back, it's quite a beautiful time, I think.
It was one of the most historic times in life that all of us can talk about. And I would be remiss. My heart and thoughts and prayers go out to those that lost loved ones, family, and friends over this horrific time. I just hope that we use this. I truly use this, and I say this all the time at every time I have an opportunity to speak. I hope we really use this to really get in touch with what it means to truly embrace those that you care about. Because it really is a reminder, that just a true stark reminder that this is well beyond who we are. It's truly so far beyond who we are. And we have a chance to make amends with so many different things in our lives. And we have a chance to exercise forgiveness in our lives. We have a chance to grow in our lives, and for our children and our grandchildren to see us growing and understand what it's like. I believe, again, it was a time to build legacies. It really is. It was truly a time to build legacies throughout individuals throughout the world.
Definitely. So for anyone that's listening to this, that's thinking, wow, this Mark guy, he's powerful, he's inspiring, motivational, loving your acronyms. How can they get more of this sort of secret sauce? How do they how do they kind of work with you, or share all your good stuff that you're working on right now?
I mean, I'm on social media, which I don't do a lot of, but I'm on there. On Facebook under Mark V. Smith, The Process. My podcasts, or you can find them under Mark Smith, The Process. They are on everything. They're on iHeartRadio, Pandora, TuneIn, Spotify. All of them are out there as well as I do a TV show called The Process Roundtable. And in that, I invite individuals on and we talk about my acronyms. We talk about what they mean to them inside their life. And that's, again, on YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Facebook as well. So
Yeah.
it's always an honor to dialogue with individuals and then do what I can to help lift them up. Because again, I always strongly believe that we have a choice. Again, we can leave them bitter or we can leave them better. It's all on us.
Brilliant, love it. We'll share all of your links. So for people who are listening, go and check out the comments section if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening to on some of the other platforms like iTunes. All Mark's details will be in the show notes, so you can reach out directly to him. Really inspiring stuff. Loving it, loving it. So anything that you want to share that's happening in 2022?
Wow. I am finishing. Well, we're 3/4 of the way done with season 6 of The Process, which is entitled, coincidentally, If I Only Knew Then What I Know Now.
No,
So we have a couple commercial slash videos slash semi movies that have been recorded that go through each segment of those as well. But also I'm finishing up writing the final 4 series as well, which will be hopefully hopefully I have those done by September, October, and then we're in the process of talking about We're in the process of talking about putting those all together in a book and making that available for individuals as well. So I want to give a blueprint to individuals of how they can potentially look at things in a different mindset.
yeah.
It's tough. Again, I tell everybody, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I know what it's like to have a bad day. I know what it's like to feel angry. I know what it's like to potentially think about, sad to say, potentially think about suicide. I know what it's like to feel that there's nobody in your corner at all. But I'm here to tell everybody, you will get through this. You just have to believe that you will get through this, because everything that you're going through is building you. It's building you for something that's so far beyond what you can imagine. You just got to exercise patience, and you have to be willing to accept that change that's going on in your life. So just working on those types of things. A couple of serious speaking engagements coming up. We're still on lockdown, so a lot of things are virtual. But again, it's just having an opportunity to spread opportunity of hope, joy, perseverance, and belief within everybody.
Yeah. No, I think it's so important, because especially right now, because there are lots of people that are, struggling with different things in the world right now, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of sort of commend you and say well done for everything that you're doing to help other people, because I think more than ever, a lot of people need it right now. And I think by sharing, like I said at the beginning, sharing our journeys and our stories, having gone through something, it's like turning pain into power, isn't it? That you see people talk about, because if you've gone through something challenging or traumatic, it's just and you get out the other side. It's by sharing that experience and processes like you're doing can be so powerful to help people. So it's absolutely awesome listening to what you're doing, and so much synergy with things that I've been doing. So I always ask everybody at the end of the podcast, what does freedom mean to you? Because it's a freedom podcast. And I love this question. And on the birthday episode, we actually picked several different answers and shared them back to back, because it was interesting hearing everybody's. So what does freedom mean to you, Mark?
That is a great question. When I think of freedom, I think of having peace within. I mean, true peace within. The peace that I'm talking about, to where nothing can rock your world. Nothing can take you off your square, so to speak. Nothing can disrupt what you're truly called to do. I am, when I thought about that just now, I thought about where do I see freedom? I see freedom in the mirror. I really see freedom within myself. When the first thing we all do when we wake up, right? We're going to look in that mirror. Do we feel free or do we feel captive? What is it? And freedom to me just means having that peace within, to know that I am on the right path. I talked to you earlier, said I'm a work in progress because I'm not there. I'm truly not there. And I don't know if I'll ever get there. But as long as I'm striving every day to take freedom to another, personal freedom, societal freedom, working for societal freedom, working towards freedom to make everybody a better person, then that's what I'm about to do. So
I think it's all a journey, isn't it? We're all learning all the time. Life is one journey. And I remember years ago, I was always like, when I do this or when I get there, and it's like I was always focusing on that end goal. Usually it was like materialistic as well, you know. And it was a few years ago, I had that light bulb moment. It's like enjoying that process, enjoying the whole journey as it goes, you know what I mean? And it was when I realised that the goal that I originally set myself, I'd already achieved, but I never actually stopped to congratulate myself. Because your goals get bigger, don't they? Or you've got, I don't know, it's crazy as we are as humans. We're always focused on this end result, which, you know, you've got to stop and actually enjoy the journey that you go through.
That's right.
So peace, yeah, I think that's a really, really good one for freedom. Because peace within is so powerful, isn't it? And it's, I don't know if you feel like this. I had like a problem with my car not so long ago. I got the tyre, I got a puncture. And I was on the phone to my mum at the time when it was all happening. My mum had rung me and she was all panicking because I was there with my two boys, you know, and I'd said to the boys, oh, we'll go and walk to the shop. We'd rung like the recovery guy. I was like, we'll go and walk to the shop and get some sweets. It was like the nicest day and all. And I was all like, I was taking it all in my stride. You know, and I was like, oh my God, she kept ringing me, oh, have you got the good? And all that. And I was like, look, I'm not panicking. I suddenly realised that when you have had sort of bigger challenges, those sort of like everyday type challenges just went over my head. I just saw it as, well, actually, this is an opportunity to go for a walk and do something we don't normally do. And when I came back in like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, the guy had arrived and it was all kind of, you know, it's all like how we react to stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We can't control what happens at the time. And
one of the most powerful words that a gentleman told, one of my mentors told me when I was a young guy, and not that I'm old now, but I was younger. He had told me, he said, Mark, if you want to remember one word, just remember this word. I said, what is it? Is it get over it? He said, no, that's more than one word, son. I said, what is it? He said, next. If you can remember the word next, nothing that happens to you, you're going to let it bog you down, because you will understand that whatever it is, it's a temporary situation and you'll get through it. So it's the next chapter of your life. Let's move, just next. Let's keep, if you remember that word, then you will be fine. There's not a whole lot of things that will rock your world. You'll be able to process it, deal with it, and move on to the next level of your life. So I will never, ever forget those words of wisdom.
Yeah, I love that. That's really powerful and a great way to finish on this interview. I love it. You've shared some amazing little acronyms. I'd really advise everybody to go and check out Mark V. Smith. Remember, it's Mark V. Smith. Go and check him out. Check out the process in his podcast and all these really good acronyms that can really help change people's lives or our perceptions to the challenges that we're going through, because life is a journey. And we need to embrace it more for the opportunity that we go through. So thanks ever so much for coming on the show. It's been great to connect with you. Let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And if there's any way I can help you, just reach out to me. It's always great to connect with people, not just on the episode, but afterwards. So great to have you on the show. Thanks ever so much for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.